AITAA for how I responded to my ex and his affair partner about her infertility. Posted by ThrowAITAHara. My ex-husband, 40 male, cheated on me, 34 female, with a coworker, 36 female, otherwise known as affair partner. I found out about the affair 3 years after it started. At the time, my husband and I had 3 very young children together. I kicked him out and filed for divorce. He moved in with his affair partner. They fought for full primary custody of the children in the divorce, using the two-parent household as an excuse. They lost. Custody is shared and parenting time is 50-50. He married her before the ink was dry on our divorce papers. Things were, and on my end still are, very hostile. She didn't like that I wished for him to do the same to her. He didn't like that I told his family I tested for STDs after learning of his affair. The only reason I told his family is they wanted to know why I couldn't be friends for the kids' sake. I told them because before affair partner, there was another coworker I now suspect he also had sex with, or wanted to at least. And because of those 2 things, I wanted to be sure he didn't give me anything. My ex told me it was petty and gross when he had one affair only and it was only with one woman for 3 years. My ex and I use a co-parenting app for communication, and I ignore calls and texts. The times this gets tricky is face-to-face. I need to keep up some kind of civility if my kids might see us together, which is more difficult than some would believe. But I love my kids more than I hate him. Our kids are all school-aged now and doing okay. They prefer my house and have a hard time being at their dad's house some weeks. I have them seeing a therapist to help them process, but I know none of this is ideal. My ex and her affair partner were warned about pressuring the kids to call her mom or mama something, which they were doing for a while, and this was backed up by the therapist. The kids don't like affair partner, and I celebrate that in my head every single day. You will never hear me say I'm sad they don't feel like they have 2 moms when she's supposed to be the second mom. I find her disgusting to think she can knowingly help destroy their parents' marriage and then try to make them hers. I do not share any of these feelings with my kids, but the kids know there are issues between mom and dad. They also have some understanding that their dad cheated. This was not something I told them, but how badly he tried to explain some things to them when they asked him questions. He doesn't believe in therapy, so there was no professional backup to help him. So anyway, around Halloween, my ex and the affair partner approached me at the school's Halloween event. Ex told me we needed to speak, and I told them unless it was about the kids, we did not. In a quieter moment, they caught me alone, and they told me that affair partner is infertile and cannot have biological children, and they have been trying for years. They told me it would mean so much if I would let go of my hate for them and be more kind to her and encouraging her and the kids bonding so that she doesn't feel like an outsider forever. He told me her infertility was painful and she loves our kids, and I have successfully stopped them bonding with her. But as someone who always wanted to be a mom and got to be, I should be compassionate. I asked them why they were telling me their own personal, private business that had nothing to do with me. My ex went from calm and pleading to pissed in seconds. He told me that was a disgusting reaction, and at the very least, I could have offered her my sympathies as my fellow co-parent and our kid's third parent. I walked away because I did not want to discuss it or argue in case someone, especially our kids, heard. He then texted me several times that night asking where I get my disgusting insensitivity from. He also tried to bring it up at a meeting the 2 of us had with the school over one of our children, who was not present. I'm ignoring him, but he's enraged, and I had to send the texts over to my attorney for documenting. I expected this to have blown over by now, and clearly it hasn't. For that reason alone, I wanted to check what other people thought. AITAA? Puzzle-headed Cup 854 comments, NTA. It's almost comical. He wants you to sympathize with his wants. I know you would prefer to have the kids 100% of the time and child support from him. He only cares about sympathy when it works in his favor. OP response, I think my kids would be better off with me, but I'm realistic that he would need to majorly screw up for that to happen, and I can't wish that for their sakes. I just hope he does better by them. Ronesque comments, info, has he ever apologized for destroying your family? Just can't process how entitled he is to your cordiality when it is obvious you have not forgiven both of them. OP response, nope. Not only has he never apologized for destroying our family, but he acted like I caused everything because I was pregnant when the affair originally started. JRM1102 comments, NTA, I do not share any of these feelings with my kids.
But the kids know there are issues between mom and dad. They also have some understanding that their dad cheated. You don't owe them anything, and the kids don't have to have a relationship with her, but I do wonder if your justified anger and hostility towards them has spilled over to the kids. She doesn't get to be their mom, but I would make sure you're not making the kids' experience at their dad's house a negative one based on your anger, again, justified, towards them. The kids' experiences at dad's are negative because of the pressure they've had to call the affair partner some kind of mom name, the fact their dad basically admitted to cheating and left them very confused and refused to engage more, and other issues like that. I can promise I have never said a word in front of my kids, and I have been a good actor in their presence. At no point have I wanted to hurt my kids more by letting them feel all the hate I have for those two. I have checked with their therapist to be sure, but it's their dad and his affair partner doing the harm. Cute Profession 9983 comments, "Are these posts real where the cheaters plead with the person whose life they blew up to make nice?" OP response, "I know I'm the person who posted, so you might not believe it. But not only does it happen, you see people who try to act like one big happy family after cheating in affairs destroys lives. Some people even pull it off and end up becoming one big blended family, but I have to believe there were other issues at play beforehand because I could never understand befriending someone who cheated and had affairs." VBS Sergeant comments, "I'm horrified by all those here who are reveling in cruelty. The number of people who seem to be espousing Christian thoughts in one sentence, then delighting in another person's misery is sickening. Bear in mind, we don't know what the marriage was like. We don't know any circumstances of who said or did what, only that there was cheating. I'm sorry, but bringing up an STI to his family was petty and childish. Did he deserve a raft of shit? Absolutely. But despite what she says, for someone who claims she loves her kids, she seems awfully intent upon making sure they understand that how she feels should be reflected in how they feel. And all those delighting in another person's misery, this is part of why the world currently sucks." OP response, "I have never made my children aware of how I feel about their dad or the affair partner. I'm the one who kept any fighting away from the kids and shut down something that could have turned into a very nasty fight because the kids might have overheard. But that doesn't mean I'll hide my feelings from X or the affair partner when we're alone either, or from X's family for that matter."